potato?
Tacos. No, they're not potato.
They're like carnitas, no?
Okay, so these are apparently the tacos from Lupe's hometown,
Okay.
which is basically like imagine your ranch when you were a little kid.
Okay.
-10. Like they're a ranch. And
Nah. Do you know where I'm from? No,
Yeah, I
you don't
know.
know. Okay.
And so apparently to this day, there's no restaurants there.
Oh wow. Shit. Okay.
And so one lady makes these tacos outside of church on Sundays.
Okay.
And so everybody was like, oh my God. Everybody from Durango, right? Everybody's like, oh yeah, those are El Rincon tacos, because this lady is the only one that makes them.
Okay.
And so this lady taught Letty how to make them. And it's basically meat and it's like mashed with beans.
Ah. Okay. Interesting. Probably gonna have to try one then now.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's poor people food. But awesome.
Wow.
Poor people's the best food. Potato taco's my favorite. That's poor people food.
Well, anyways, guys, my name is George, the content creator, and this together is the
I know, right?
podcast.
Why'd you say George the content
I
creator?
totally forgot. You know what? It's because I've been making.
Look at those videos. I knew it when you said it. I'm like,
I was like, fuck. Yeah, so I've been making videos for my company, and I've been saying that. And I was like, ugh.
That's
So, yeah, so
hysterical.
now it just stuck in my head now. So I've been practicing saying that. So I guess that's why I said it right now.
I'm gonna preface by saying I may take some bites of a taco. But how's your week been?
My week has been great. It's been good. So, I mean, it's barely Monday, but the weekend's been good. I mean, Stephanie's sister's birthday over the weekend. Visited my sister. My sister made pozole. Open week.
You
Open
guys
week
make
is
the
awesome.
rounds on the weekends, huh?
Yeah, we have to. So, you guys don't have to?
Mm-mm.
No?
Mm-mm.
Wow. Well, you know,
Like who?
what the thing is because it's always the woman
Mm-hmm.
that has to go make the rounds. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, the guy doesn't matter.
yeah. So if you're not making rounds or you don't need to go visit your family, then you don't have to do anything. You know, the guy doesn't. Presley's not gonna be like, let's go visit my family or let's go visit my.
So,
you know.
but before we were together, Presley would make it a point to visit his mom every week.
Ah, okay.
And I used to go see the twins every week. I would go to my sister's every week. It's kind of become a thing where we don't go as often. Like he'll go once a month, I go once a month. I don't always make him come with me,
Okay.
and I don't always go with him.
Okay, so you guys
So
just go separately on your own times now?
Sometimes.
Well, I mean, we have the kids.
He doesn't like to be separate. Presley, if like he had his way, we'd do everything together. Like I would go to work with him, and he'd be to work with me.
Shut your-
I swear, Presley likes to do everything together, which I do appreciate. But sometimes it's like, no, you can hang out with your family alone, you know?
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm sure I could be wrong, but the way I am, I feel like, you know, his family's probably like, we don't always need to see Susie. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
No, I don't know. I'm not sure. I think
Maybe that's just like
it's kind of like a package deal though now.
Maybe that's just how I feel, you
Right.
know? But like I remember when my sister was dating her now husband, like that's how they were. And every like event he would come and my mom would be like, well, like are they attached at the hip? Like he doesn't have his own family. And so that's what I think about. Like,
Right, yeah.
Like maybe they're like, oh God, like can we get some time alone with
Right,
Presley?
right.
You know? Maybe that's not true, but maybe that's just how I feel. So sometimes I do send him off on his own. And yeah, I do though need to see the twins more often because they're at that they're 7. I mean, I call them the twins, but it's the twins and their little brother. But I feel like like I need to spend a little bit more time with them. They're at that age where like they're growing up. You know,
Yeah.
so
And you're gonna lose them.
I'm gonna lose.
You're gonna lose them
and
sooner or
I
later.
had built a really solid foundation with them. So
Yeah. Do you get along with Presley's
My
family
brother-in-law?
or Presley's family?
I do.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. No, I mean, there's like Stephanie goes over her family's house a lot, like without me, but like she won't go over my house without me. Well, I mean, she would like if I was like gone, but like it wouldn't be like I wouldn't go over her family's house neither, you know,
By yourself.
by myself. So
Okay.
yeah, but
So you guys, either she comes or she doesn't go.
she goes to her family's by herself, you know, but I rarely go to my sister's house by myself. You know what I mean? So,
Okay.
But yeah, it's kind of like that. So, and the only reason why I was thinking about it is because we talked about how like our conversations are completely different between families. So like,
That's interesting.
yeah, like it's crazy. Like
her family's more loving, and they're like, right? You said that before.
I don't know what you mean more loving.
I don't know. Like they just say more loving things. I think.
Uh,
You mentioned something like that.
Yeah, I think they would say. Yeah, I think so. Like their brothers say, "Bye, Pep, I love you," you know, or like stuff like that, you
that's
know, or
sweet.
like well, they call her Pep and Mo, right? Pep. So they would say something like that, or like her older brother would come in for a hug or something, you know, or like they would just like lay on the couch, kind of like chilling, like.
You tell
like,
me
on-
that, and they like cuddle.
Yeah, and I'm just like, what the fuck?
I would never cuddle my sisters or my brother.
Yeah.
My brother would be like, get the hell away
Yeah,
from me.
it would be so fucking weird, dude. So, my sister could barely hug her son. Like,
Yeah. It's
So-
so sad that we're like that, but at the same time,
yeah, it's kind of weird. So it's kind of weird to see that though too.
yeah.
So I was thinking.
Presley, if you couldn't tell, he's a hugger.
Yeah.
Or his whole family hugs, and they hug all the time, and they cuddle.
Your face says it all. Like, yeah, that's hilarious. No, yeah. So like, cause we're thinking about it. She's like, we're talking about how like we're yelling like, oh, you see, we weren't yelling. We were talking about each other. Like, you see, we didn't get home that late today, and then blah blah blah. And I was like, well, it's like, but then when we visit your sister, we get home like at 10 o'clock. And I was like, well, yeah, we fucking sit there and we talk for a long ass time. You know, we
Okay.
fucking.
So like you and your
We-
sister talk more, you think?
Yeah, well, I think we all talk. Like we talk about like crazy shit. You know, like we talk
Okay.
about like really deep stuff and like, cause I was telling her how her brother, Stephanie's brother's girlfriend, is really like, I don't like the word woke, but she's pretty woke, you know.
Okay.
But like at Stephanie's house, like we don't talk about that kind of stuff.
Okay.
We don't talk about like her little like the twin of the twins is, you know, he's a little feminine, you know.
Okay.
And I feel like, you know, the sister's like really worried that he's gonna come out.
Gay.
Yeah.
Let's just not say it.
Yeah,
Gay.
yeah, gay. So
Uh-huh.
and and you know, there's things like
That's
that
so
that like
sad.
yeah. So
Like, would you be worried if you started to see like your kids were maybe coming out gay? I was never worried about that ever.
No, yeah, I'm not worried about it either. So, but like, so I mean, Stephanie had this conversation all the time. She's like, man, we're due for one in the family. You
Yeah.
know, we're due. Like, none of our kids are none of them have shown anything. None of them have been, and you know. And Stephanie always says like, well, let's hope it's one of our kids because,
Yeah.
you know, we know damn right my sister's going to be fucking, she'll do something
Wow.
like send them out to like somewhere to try to get,
That's
to zap it out of them or something, you
terrible.
know?
That is so sad.
yeah. So,
That's terrible and sad.
but yeah, so we're talking about like how we get home later and the conversation is like, and just like, well, we have like some very serious, deep conversations at my sister's house and we even had the sucking dick conversation.
What did your sister say?
My sister said, "What? Really?"
Right?
Yeah, she was pissed off. And then, but
What
then,
did her
like,
husband say?
No, her husband wasn't there for the conversation
Okay, I
because
was-
they were like arguing at the time. But like, it was funny.
I like
because,
forever think Presley's gay now.
well, it was funny because like my little niece's boyfriend was there,
Mm-hmm.
fucking my brother was there, and we all said like,
You
it's
all
$1
said
billion,
yes?
man. You know.
Yeah.
You know, my brother was the only one that was like, oh, I don't know, man. I really. And then like, my niece's boyfriend was like, it's $1 billion. So like, and you know, and we're just thinking about that. So we're just thinking
I
like,
like forever think Presley's gay.
like our family our family dynamic. You know what I mean? So like, it's
yeah,
just,
so you guys are open with each other. You guys,
Yeah.
you're probably more open with each other than Stephanie and her family is.
Oh, big time. Because I was telling her like, what if we bring that conversation? I told her, what if I asked like your brother? Because I think I could ask her brother that, and like his girlfriend because she's kind of like
Yeah,
she doesn't give a
wokish.
yeah. So
Yeah.
like. But like all
But
the
that's
other,
it.
everyone else would be
Yeah.
like, "What the fuck?" Like they would shut it down like right
Yeah.
away. Like
Like,
they'd
no,
be
no,
like,
no, vamos a hablar de eso.
yeah, yeah.
right?
They'd be like, they can't even talk about sex, dude.
Yeah.
They can't even talk about like anything crazy or weird. And that's why I was telling her like, that's why we leave early all the time. We leave your house early because
'Cause
all
you're like,
we do is
"Oh,
eat,
okay,
watch TV.
we're done, right?
We eat, watch TV.
Ya
you
nos
know?
vamos.
But like at my sister's, we sit down and we just talk a lot of shit. You know?
It depends with my family if they're in the mood to talk. Let's say, for example, my sister, the one with the twins, she tends to be a little bit more on the conservative side.
Uh-huh.
But she can still have conversations like that. I think it just depends if she's in the mood, right? Because that's who I go visit. But I think with any of my other siblings, like Claudia and Peppa, I can definitely all the time say those things, you know? Yeah, because right away, when you were bringing up that convo, I asked my brother right away, like, would you suck a dick for $1 billion?
He's like, hell no.
And he was like, okay, but like, what are the, he wanted some parameters.
Yeah, I hate that too. Like my little niece was like, Are we talking about like a 5 second or just like suck
Like
or just
finish, like no, finish, right?
all the way through? I don't know. I don't even know the parameters.
No,
but-
you would have to finish. Like you're getting that on your face. Like he's finishing on you. Okay?
Oh shit, dude, that's a completely different story.
I'm not paying you $1 billion if I'm a guy. Okay, why are we back here? But
Yeah, for real.
I'm not paying you $1 billion if I'm a guy and like you just like suck the tip.
Yeah, but
You have to finish.
yeah, that's right.
Okay,
So
you have to finish. But okay, that was funny.
yeah, so it was just interesting. I was just thinking about like your family, like your family dynamic,
Yeah.
you know, because
So-
like it must suck if you go over to Presley's family house and you feel like you have to
Oh, I can't.
suppress who
I
you
do
are.
suppress who I
yeah,
am. Mhm.
that kind of sucks. And I would hate to be that.
But I don't think like it's his mom, right? I don't feel like his mom's conservative, but I do feel that she raises now her new kids. I don't want to be rude and be like her real kids, but I feel like when you're a single mom that has kids with a husband, like those are your real kids, in a different way.
Uh-huh.
And I think that, and I understand the dynamic because I'm in a similar situation where it was like her and Presley for a long time by themselves.
Mhm.
And that's how I grew up. And it's almost like a brother and sister. So I feel like even though she's very much the mom of Presley, they have a mother-son, really, like a brother-sister relationship too. And she does not have that with the younger ones.
Okay.
So I think that, like, I wouldn't be comfortable if the whole family was around. But I think in front of her, I can be myself.
yeah,
So it's weird.
that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, so that's funny. Yeah, I do need my weekend routine. It's just so hard when you have like you're so tired and you have depression and you have stuff to do and you also want to be social and like go on dates with your partner and all that to be like, okay, it's time to go to my sister's. It's tough.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
to me that's hard.
No, yeah. You know what's nice about that though is that like you don't know what your weekend is.
Mhm.
Like we know what our weekend is.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So either I text my sister on Thursday or Friday, like, hey, are you busy Friday or Saturday? And then she'll tell me a day.
Mhm.
And then on Sundays, it's always like Stephanie's house. You know what I
Mm,
mean? So it's
okay.
always, so like our Sundays are always taken up. You know, like.
To me, yeah, and to me that's tough because that would be like my free day, the day that we would do that stuff.
Uh huh.
And to me, Sunday's like the day where I have to like think about the week and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. Like yesterday, we went to go see The Godfather
Well, where or what?
at the movies. They're playing it at the movies.
Oh my god, dude! Why would you? I hate that. I hate that.
Why?
You watched that movie so many times.
Yeah, but
And
I've
then you're
never
gonna go
seen
to
it
the,
on the
like-
big screen, and we saw it twice. We saw it Thursday evening, and then we saw it yesterday too.
The same movie?
Yeah,
Why?
because we want to see it again. What do
Yeah,
you mean?
that's
It's my
terrible.
favorite movie.
But still, I don't like. I'm not a big repeater. Like I can't watch repeat a
Presley
movie.
was like, "How many times have you seen this movie?" And I did the math. I would say I watched that movie at the average. There's times where I've watched it more, but average 3 times a week. No,
Jesus
sorry,
Christ,
3
come
times.
on.
No, 3 times a year. 3 times
Oh,
a
okay,
year
okay.
since I was about 14.
Okay.
So about 60 times.
My favorite movie. I probably watched it 5 times in my whole life.
No. Right now, The Lost Boys is on Netflix. I've already seen it 5 times.
Dude, what is?
'Cause it's my
Why?
number
Why
2.
though? Do you never just like not like, or what are you paying attention to, or are you on your phone and watching
No,
it? Or
I
are you,
love
like-
it. I love it. What do you mean? I'm probably watching it on my phone, so I can't even pay attention to my phone.
So like what?
if I'm
what's-
on my phone watching the movie.
What's going on through your head when you're rewatching it? For
I
the 5th
love
time?
it. I feel secure. I feel like a warm feeling. I feel like so much nostalgia. Maybe I catch new things every time.
Out of
Yes.
come on, every fucking
The Lost Boys, I've definitely seen them more than 60 times.
you see it 60 times and you're not gonna catch every fucking thing.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Come on, dude.
Mm-mm.
Oh my god.
Plus, they'll be like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm watching The Lost Boys. You're like, okay.
Are you one of those like my sister? Pisses me off. She's watched the Lord of the Rings. I brought this up before.
That's a big commitment, too.
She's watched Lord of the Rings so many fucking times.
How many movies is that? 3?
3 movies, yeah. But every time something shocking happens, she always goes. Like, why would you know what's coming out? You know what's gonna
That's
happen.
still, it's so surprising.
Like, come on, dude. Like,
that
serious-
means that she is so in the story that when it happens, she's still like, oh my God, I can't believe that. I love that about
Nah,
her.
Yeah, I cannot do that. I cannot rewatch things. I cannot. Yeah, if I
Now-
do, it's because like
Also, if
I'm
you have
bored.
anxiety, you rewatch stuff.
I don't get that.
Yeah, so you don't have anxiety. There you go. Look at how free you are from mental illness. Fun. You're normal. Not me. And I'm your sister, obviously. Also, like I've been wanting to get into a new movie like that, like a thing, like a series.
Okay.
I've never watched Harry Potter either.
Okay.
Have you?
Yeah, I watched her once.
All of them?
All of them.
All
once.
of them once. I've
That's
never
it.
watched any of them, and I kind of wanted to watch that, but Presley said he did watch a few, and I'm like, I don't want to watch it with you then.
Then Presley could watch things over again too, or no?
He's not a fan of it, no.
No, yeah.
Like
it's
he
okay.
will. Actually, he has his shows that he rewatches, and they're shows that I hate. Like he watches like he rewatches How I Met Your Mother,
Oh, really? Okay.
and I'm like, what is this? Take this trash out.
It's pretty good. It gets a little worse at the end, like the later
it's okay.
seasons.
It's okay. It's okay. And then he watches another thing and whatever. But I don't think he minds, but he'd rather watch something new, right? So I don't want to watch that with him. But maybe Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do that.
Lord of the Rings is good. I like the way it's filmed. I'm not a big fantasy guy like that neither, but it's.
Have
It's
you
pretty
been
cool.
watching the Kanye document? I like to bring this full circle to end this segment. We talked about Kanye 2 episodes
Yeah.
ago. Have you been watching?
I watched it. Yes. We
Isn't
watched
it amazing?
It's great. I love it. It was awesome. I think
It
I love
is
it.
so great.
Yeah.
Like I am so impressed with it.
Yeah. So the third one's not out though yet, right?
The third one comes out this week.
Okay.
The third, I think.
No. Yeah. As an entrepreneur thing, I love
Yes,
it. I fucking
correct.
love it. It's fucking.
I would think that as an entrepreneur and a videographer, you like it.
Yeah, it's fucking dope. It's super. Like you want to just like.
I want to be there.
Yeah, I want to fucking go find a rapper right now. Be like, who has the dopest potential, you know, and go just give up my whole life and
Like
just kinda-
how the stars have to be aligned for you to be like, you know what? I'm gonna follow this guy around.
Yeah.
He's got it.
Dude, but not only that, but then he ends up being a director for more music
Yeah,
videos.
for
Like
sure.
that's fucking crazy. Like
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be one of those sad things. Like he goes back home
And that's
then
it.
Kanye ends up
Kanye
calling him
forgets about
again,
him,
you
yeah.
know. But he fucking got with this guy Chicky or whatever,
Uh-huh.
Cheeky and he started making music videos for big ass people, and I'm just like, whoa, dude. And then he directed Jesus Walks, one of the craziest
When
videos
he had
ever.
chosen, when he had said from the beginning, Kanye
Yeah.
was like, "I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna get hyped for
Hype
this."
with-
La, la, la.
No, yeah, it's a awesome, dude.
Yeah,
You know,
it's an
the thing I
awesome
love,
story.
it's super cool. But you can see it. You can
Mm-hmm.
see Kanye West, like you can see it in the beginning. You can see how he is right now,
But I told
like
you,
just on the mic, the flying glass
but
now.
I told you in the 2 episodes ago where we talked about Kanye, where he was always like this.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Like he was always super confident, and he can like hear music when you like are not hearing anything. You know what I mean? Like he has that ability.
Yeah,
That gift. So I really like how it really shows how he was always certain. And it was so sad, like when he goes around and, you know, like
Yeah.
and puts on his music for all these people, and they're like, eye roll.
Yeah.
Like, why is he here again in my office? Like, leave me alone.
yeah,
And how, you know, like he's just trying to get his freaking album out and all that stuff. Like, so amazing, so awesome. But like the parts where I am literally crying or tearing up is when his mom's on.
yeah. That's so crazy. Well, before we get to the mom part, the thing that's crazy too is that it pissed me off so much.
Who, Dame Dash?
No, not only Dame Dash, but like everyone.
Fuck Dame Dash.
You had this diamond in the rough, like
Yeah, but they
in
couldn't
front of
see it.
you.
You know-
Like,
you know what I think? I think half of them could see it, but they were scared.
yeah, like it's crazy. Like, no, not only
They
Dame
didn't
Dash,
want him to take over.
right? Or not Dame Dash, or like what's it called, or like, or just everybody, you know, like, and then you see like people trying, like Mos Def, Talib Kweli, trying to put them on, you know. But then you see like the girls in the office, like kind of just like, and then they say hi to somebody else, you know what I
And
mean?
they ignore him.
If they would have just been like, I'm gonna take you to Jay-Z directly, or I'm gonna take you, you know what I mean? They could have probably been like an agent or something, you know, or like they themselves could have moved up. That was pissing me off so much. Like it was just like, Jesus, like how can you not tell that sound is unique, is brand new, is beautiful? It's something that the industry needs. You know? Like,
Everything about Kanye was unique at that
Yeah.
time. Like when Kanye came out with College Dropout, you knew like those times of like the big shirts, big G, like that was done.
yeah,
because now he was about polos, he was about backpacks, he
Yeah.
was about that different look.
Mm-hmm.
Where like that has transpired throughout here, like,
Yeah.
and then the guys got into skinny jeans, and like overall, the image wasn't the same, which it had been the same for like 20 years in rap, like baggy everything, you know. And so I think like he changed a lot, like he really did change a lot. But
No, yeah, and then so I don't want to forget about Donda's part, but because that's huge, and when we and Stephanie were watching it, but one of the things is that baffles me is like when they're playing the music, and I'm just like, dude, that I haven't heard College Dropout in a long time, and I'm just like, from beginning to end, it's a good ass fucking album.
It's great,
and I'm
It's
just
a
like,
great
there's
album.
no skipping that in that fucking album, and it baffles me that like. So, like, if you go tell anybody, hey, who's the best rappers? They always say Biggie, Jay-Z, Nas. They go fucking J. Cole. They go Kendrick. They go Eminem. They go fucking, you know. And I never paid attention. Like, how come Kanye's never on that list? And his rhymes were awesome.
His
like, they
rhymes
were
are
so
really
good,
good.
and they were on point. They
Not
were
only
playing
that,
around.
but he had like the vision to put like Jamie Foxx, who had done Ray on a song,
Right, yeah.
right? He has like the vision to like do all this stuff where you're like, wow, I never even thought of that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? No, I always say I like Kanye. Like Kanye, frick, I flew to California to watch Kanye. You know what I mean? Like I love Kanye. I think I've made that very clear, and obviously the Chicago overall connection, but. I feel that he's awesome. I feel that his rap style is unique. I feel that when he came out, like he really came out with a bang. I feel that all this other stuff is and I also feel like all this other stuff is why people don't choose him. But really, like Nas, like no offense, but like Nas hasn't made anything in a long ass time, and
Right.
I couldn't name you like 5 Nas songs right now.
Well,
Like
I couldn't. I love Nas. Nas is really
on the
fun.
spot, I couldn't, right? And Jay-Z, of course I can, right? And then like obviously Biggie, of course I can. Tupac, of course I can. But like other people that they might name, like, oh, that's my favorite. Not everyone can name 5 songs. I think like everyone can name 5 Kanye songs.
Yeah.
And you can say these are my top 5 Kanye songs, you know? And so I
Yeah.
think like that's important, and people forget about that. People just want to criticize him or put him down or whatever. I mean, he is wilding out a lot with this divorce thing, very like stalking behavior. But I think that his greatest asset was his mom always believing in him.
Yes, dude, it's crazy. Like,
And I'm just like, she was such a good mom. Like that's so awesome.
yeah. And the thing that's crazy that I tell Stephanie too is that like, okay, so wait, I'm gonna hold that thought. But the thing that is that like, she was like a balancing for him. I feel like she balanced his confidence, and like if you go through the whole documentary and the whole documentary again, there was never a point where she said you can't or you can't. No negative.
Or like
never
I didn't
negative.
like that. Not one thing
Yeah.
negative.
Like, or she would always bring up, remember when you did this? Oh, that was the best. That was awesome, you know? And it was just to see her, how positive she was, and how, like it was like, whoa, dude. Like, and like,
What a gift.
yeah.
What a gift.
It's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
imagine if we had moms like that.
No, I can't.
Dude, yeah.
I literally
My
can't.
mom to this day is like, when are you going to get a real job?
No way.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, like it's crazy, dude. Like,
yeah,
it's
my
just
mom
like,
will be like, they're hiring at the airport.
yeah.
I'm like, they are. I'm kind of interested.
They are.
I'm kind of interested.
No, and that's crazy. Like, but how do you do that? Like, you see your son going through this.
Yeah.
You have a profession. You're a college, right? She's a college
Right.
professor.
She's a college professor. Mhm.
And you have a good career, and you see your son going through this, the hardships.
Not finishing college, moving to New York without money, spending money on chains instead of like a house.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I would have been like, come on, like, don't be dumb. Get a house,
Yeah.
get property, you know, but unless she's like, oh, I love that. Like, that's
Yeah.
unique. And I'm just like, what a gift. Like, I can't
dude,
even imagine.
It
I
was
can't
so
imagine.
crazy. I was like, wow. Like, and that's what, dude, ever since that documentary, me and Stephanie have been like, we got to fucking instill that into our kids.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, the dollar, you could fly. Dollar, you could fucking fly. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it's crazy. Like, it's just like,
It's so sweet. I can't get past it. Like every time she comes on screen, I smile.
Well, I think
smile, and I think it's so sweet how she's just always instilling like positivity in him, and always like letting him know like she loved what he did.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that just their dynamic. Like he put his like his shields came down.
That first one where he's like, I'm here, like, and I brought company. I'm like, if that would have been me, I'm like, oh my God, and you brought people at this hour?
Yeah.
What the heck? You know, but instead she was like, okay, come on in. And they were like drinking together.
Yeah.
I can't.
Dude, that was insane.
I can see now like how that has profoundly affected him.
Yeah.
Like that loss
Yep.
so early. Because he has not been the same since then.
Yeah.
And you can now see why.
Yep.
Like, we all knew she was a good mom before, and we all had seen at least clips of her at some point, but seeing her more like in their personal space, then you now realize, like,
together, seeing them bounce each other, talk to each other, you know what I mean? And kind of like, dude, when she was spitting his rhymes, I was like, what the fuck? I would not remember my kid's rhymes.
Like, remember that song?
Yeah, like she remembered she's like, the start, and then she told him, the start was dope though. You know, she was like, this, well, not like that, but she's like, the start was where it's at. You know, like that was really cool.
Or I love how when she says something and he's like, no one even uses that term
anymore.
Yeah.
Yes. When what was it? It was I remember that. It was funny.
So cute. It was so cute because he doesn't say it rudely.
Right.
And she doesn't take offense to it, you know. And she's just like, okay, so blah, and she changes the wording. It's just, oh my God, so cute.
Yeah.
It's such a blessing that we get to see that. I'm kind of interested how this ends up because, you know, we know what's coming, and that's sad. Yeah,
and I wonder, I mean, is what's his name? Cootie stays still with him now, or
I have no idea. Like, I guess we have to see.
Yeah, so I wonder like how that. I saw a tweet that say, "How the fuck is the rest of in one more video?" You know what I mean? Like, how long is this last trilogy gonna be? You know, because there's so much more left.
I would imagine that if he's being the narrator, that they might still be cool, right?
Yeah,
because I would feel Kanye would want to be the narrator. Yeah, knowing him.
So I mean, it's interesting. I mean, damn, and I feel bad for Kanye too because I think I read an article, but this was a long time ago though, when she first passed away, that he felt like he was partly responsible because if you think about it, I see the video and I see the documentary, and I don't see a woman that wants to get surgery. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
she's
I don't
very confident.
Yeah, and I don't see a woman that like, why would she want to do that? Why would she want to get that? You know? Yeah. And I'm just like,
not for nothing, not to make this about me. But like, one of the reasons that I've never done anything like that is because she passed. Because I feel like that was so, you always hear about those stories, but it's like, you think like Kanye has the most money ever. Like it's not like money's a factor here. It's just something that happens. Yep. And so like, why wouldn't it happen to someone that doesn't have money without resources, you know? So I don't know.
And it was just a tummy tuck, right? Or something like that?
It was like tummy tuck, like lipo probably. Lipo's pretty dangerous. So,
right. So, and I was just like, and I was telling Stephanie, and she's like why would a woman like that want to get, you know, she builds confidence in her son. She probably has confidence in herself, or maybe she didn't. But she's like, well, maybe being in that world, you know, like look at the house that he's in at the end of the second video, the second part. I mean, being around people like that, you know, you never know. You know, it changes you. And I was just like, man, maybe
more factors. But yeah, overall, I can't wait for part 3. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, it makes me a little sad though, seeing that downfall in Kanye. It makes it like
it's mental health. This show is basically a mental health show. We always go back to that, but I'm excited to see part 3 and how it kind of all unfolds and how he feels about it, because this is also his point of view. Yeah. You know, so, but you know, as far as that, I'm excited to see where that ends. And you know, while we are still living in Kanye's story, it's good to see, you know, how it's still unfolding. But he's foul for what he's doing right now to Kim. But whatever. We'll talk about that some other time when we have the Kanye divorce show. This is Kanye podcast. That's what our name should be.
Yeah, we're gonna be.
But a lot of stuff has been going on. There's been so much this stress going on in the world and overall, I think that I'm gonna say this, okay? Probably not a popular opinion, but I'm gonna say that right now this conflict that we are having, and I say we because it's the world. We are the world. In Ukraine,
Oh,
it's all toxic masculinity.
oh, here we go.
That's it. It is all toxic masculinity.
Between who?
It's Russia's toxic masculinity.
Yeah,
It's
but
Putin's. Putin's.
you know
I like saying his name like Putin.
I saw. Is that how you say it? Putin.
No, it's Putin.
Putin.
Yeah,
Okay.
Putin.
You know what's so funny? I was reading up that like I was reading a tweet. The tweet said like everyone hates toxic masculinity until it's time for toxic masculinity. like,
You know, it's so funny that because we watched The Godfather yesterday at the movies, 50th anniversary, and I'm thinking like it's so crazy that I love this movie because that's all that's going on here.
yeah,
It's just toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Like, who is going to win this mob war?
yeah, and like it's funny because like you see like the president of Ukraine doing some masculine ass shit, you know, and people love it, you know, and then
Yeah.
you see fucking
Putin.
soldiers, you know, putting their children on buses and they're like or something like that, and it's just
Oh,
like
that was sad.
or like
That-
I don't
those are
know,
all
like you know what I
sad.
mean. So it's just like, and it's just funny like that was the tweet. That was what the tweet was about. Like
The thing is that all world conflicts honestly happen because of toxic masculinity because now there are female leaders in the world, right? There have been female presidents in other places. Not here, God forbid, right? Like that would not happen here for a long time because, you know, America, we're behind. But anyways,
I think it's gonna happen sooner.
but
than
in
you
those
would think, though.
countries, there's no conflict. They're thriving places. And the reason that they're thriving is because they're not toxic, okay? So, the best way to describe this is it's like when a man's like, I want that girl no matter what. Like, I want her. And she's all like, nah, I have a boyfriend or whatever, right? Like, and he's like, no, I don't care. And
Are you gonna explain this whole thing, but like that?
I think so. I think this makes it easy. I think it makes it easy.
It probably makes it easier for me too. 'cause
And
I really don't know what's
basically
going on.
she's all like, nah, like I already have a boyfriend, even though she doesn't, but she kind of is talking to someone, but she definitely does not want to talk to Russia. And so like he keeps going at her and going at her, and then he does that toxic thing where like they're at a like dance, and then he just pulls her and like he doesn't let her go. He's like, no, I bought you a drink.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like I bought you a drink. We're staying here together the whole time. And then he feels like he owns you because he bought you a vodka cranberry. And then that's it. Like you're stuck with Russia. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. And so, yeah, it overall is just toxic masculinity. And you're right. It has to be fought with some more toxic masculinity. And I think that, you know, there's a lot of people that are making like jokes about it, like how I'm talking about it now,
Yeah.
or making jokes about like World War III and et cetera, and like, but like the idea that, I mean, it could very well happen. Like we're very early on here. We don't know what the outcome's going to be if we have to enter, if we do enter, like, and just imagine like a freaking full-on long-ass freaking horrible war.
I heard that that's the worst thing that can happen.
That's the worst thing that can
We
happen.
put boots on the field.
Yeah, that's the worst thing that can happen for sure, because that's gonna be detrimental. Like, imagine World War I and World War II. While they seem super long ago, they were not very long ago. But our technology has advanced so much that it would be such a horrible, deadly thing that would cost so many lives. You know, so hopefully it doesn't get to that. But you know, a lot of people can't understand conflict in other places because we just feel like, oh, as America, like we don't have that. But we're also such a new place.
Mm.
You know what I mean? We like technically have been an independent place since 1776, right? We haven't even been a full-on country for 300 years. We still have 40 years before we end up being 300 years old. And so is Canada, so is Mexico, so is all the countries in South America. We're super, super young. So all of our conflicts are internal. We're fighting with each other. Racism, right? Like North versus South and like all this stuff. But all those countries in Europe, Asia, they've been around forever. So like they're still fighting about stuff that happened like in the 1300s. You know what I mean? Like we think like, oh, World War One, World War Two was so long ago, but that's not really when their actual conflicts begin. Their conflicts begin way before then. And so it's just a very arduous and super lame, like that. There's no other way to say that. Super lame excuse to just fight and just prove, like, you know what? We're Russia. We have weapons. We be having the Axis power still be our, still be our friends, and we want to win this thing. We want the Ukraine, but that's the thing. Like, the Ukraine has every right and should fight to be their own independent thing, because they're not going to stop with the Ukraine. They're going to want all the other countries, Estonia, Moldova, like Lithuania. They're going to want all those places, and it's going to be a never-ending thing. So we'll just see how this all unfolds. But like, I logged into my Chase today, and Chase was like, oh, because of the conflict in Ukraine, like the stock market is down, et cetera, et cetera. I was like, okay, Chase, thanks for letting me know.
Dude, yeah, I've been thinking of taking all my money out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like
the value's gonna go down.
I just feel like taking all my, not only in the stock market, just out of my savings accounts, fucking putting them in pillows and shit, just having them that shit in my fucking mattress.
Like, not to be all like my mom when Y2K, but like definitely having extra water, all that stuff. Just because it's gonna get more expensive, everything's just gonna go up, and I hate to see the loss of life, or for countries to lose their overall sovereignty, and like seeing those images of like, did you see that little boy? He's like, we left my dad. Did you see it?
No, I didn't see that one.
He was in the bus. He's like, yeah, we left my dad. He's gonna sell our stuff and maybe fight in the army. And like, kids have such a profound intake of what like war is, because they understand like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
Why do people have to die? Why can't we just agree to something, right? Where adults are like, no, Russia has every right to do this, and then people are like, no, the Ukraine has every right. Russia's wrong. Like, kids, we just know like that's wrong. No one should be killing anyone else. So it's pretty damning, pretty sad, and yeah, I feel horrible about it. Do you have any questions about it?
I mean, I don't even know what's going on, to tell you the truth. Like, I don't know why it started, other than like every time I see somebody start a war, I feel like it's just one of like a power move.
Yeah,
like
it is.
The way I think about it is I think of like I think of back like on like Little Village, you know what I mean? I think of like
colors.
Like like colors. Like I think of it colors, like kings have this block, but they want that block, so now they're just moving into this little block little by little, and that's what they're trying to do, you know what I mean? That's the way I think about it. I'm just like, and I just feel like that's the dumbest thing ever. Like, but it's crazy because it's such on a massive global scale,
Russia's
and it's
huge.
so much more dangerous, and because now you're just killing a lot more people on that end, just for what territory, for more money, for more economic gain, you know what I mean? Like, when you could benefit by doing
Russia
other things.
wants the Ukraine because it is like a buffer country into all the other NATO countries. And it wants the Ukraine because, but
I heard it just wants like these little two pieces of Ukraine.
Yeah, but it really wants like, you want the whole, like, the bigger you are, the stronger you are. The more territory you have, the better that is. Okay. So like, I may be oversimplifying it, which I don't want to do, but like, so it makes sense to people. The Russia having ability to have more land mass, and then you have buffering states against like your enemies, quote unquote, because really they just make these people their enemies, or like NATO countries' enemies. And then you get more control, right? Like, now you're a bigger power. But it really starts with like, you have to think back. So back in like the 1300s is when Russia was like the main thing. Like, Russia was huge, because don't forget that borders are man-made. Okay, borders are made by us and we create them. But like back in those days on the map, like Russia was huge and Russia
everything.
was the big power.
Yeah.
Okay. And then after a couple hundred years, Poland Lithuania Commonwealth becomes the big power. And the Poland Lithuanian Commonwealth involves all those countries like the Ukraine. It involves actually not the Ukraine, but it involves like all the other bordering Czech, all that area where you would consider like Eastern or Eastern Europe. That would be the Poland Lithuanian Commonwealth, okay? But and then it is off the map for 100 years. Like the freaking people come and take over, and Poland is not even on the map. When World War I happens, it's not even on the map. But what happens when all these conflicts happen, when a power is in power for like 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, is that like when Russia's really big, Russians go all the way out to what is now Ukraine, what is now Lithuania, what is now Estonia, you know. And then when you have Poland and Lithuania becoming like the big thing, then you have Polish and Lithuanian people in like Germany, in freaking Slovakia, it like, you know, what we would call those places now. Because it's like us, like let's say O'Hare CrossFit's its own country, right? But and then we are able to take over the whole block. We are now in charge of the block. Then you have OCF people there. But then the border comes back, and then you still have OCF people there, even though the border's right here now, right? So that kind of makes things a little bit hard when you're trying to rule over people, but now the border says that they're on the wrong side.
Yeah.
Right? And so when, you know, World War I happened, and obviously horrible things happened, right? Like horrible by the Germans, etc. But Germans and Russians were allies, right? They were the Axis, right? So then World War II happens, and they're like, okay, we need to come up with borders now. Like, this is getting ridiculous.
So wait, World War One was the Nazis, or was World War Two the Nazis?
World War I was still Nazis.
Okay.
And so were World War II. World War I was Germany. Okay, let's not call them Nazis. I apologize. World War II, they're officially Nazis. Okay, World War I, Adolf Hitler cannot take the Germany laws. He's like, we're a bunch of punk ass bitches. Like, how did we lose? Oh, I'm gonna take over. And in those like 30 years, he came up with this regime, Nazis, et cetera, which really comes from you being very proud of your country, right? Patriotism, which is what a lot of people did not like Trump, because he was instilling that same kind of ideology, right? And so when it's official Nazis in World War II, and then World War II ends, NATO happens, okay, and the Treaty of Versailles happens, and all this different stuff happens, and they're like, okay, we need freaking borders because this is not working out, okay? Germany, sorry, we're gonna make you smaller. We're gonna give this back to Poland. It's gonna be this, right? Because Poland was very affected because they had a lot of Jews too, etc. Right? All right, boom, like that's your border. Lithuania, you're separate now. That's your border. Okay, boom. Like Jewish people, you get your own freaking place in the Middle East that never existed before. Here you go. We're going to take part of Palestine, and that's Israel. Okay? So it becomes like a whole thing. Like now there's all these borders. Well, obviously, it affects a lot of people. It affects Russia, who's now like, all right, now we're smaller when we used to have all these land masses before. Okay? So what I am saying is like when you think of World War I and World War II as a long time ago, in history, it really wasn't that long ago. So Russia's still like, I still want this land back. Like, I still want this back because Russians are here. But really, we also know that it is convenient for him to have, like, power plants and, like,
more land,
all that
right.
stuff. But, yeah, that's essentially what's going on, you know. And, like, it's just dumb. Like, in my mind, because I'm so freaking liberal, it's just like, who cares about borders, like whatever, right? But at the same time, like it really matters to a lot of people, especially if you're in power. I mean, Russian people don't even really care about this war,
right? Yeah, I heard that too.
It is literally just the freaking people in charge, because they're trying to make Russia a bigger thing than it right now is. And so that's pretty tough, because you're talking about a whole place that just started to thrive again after that destruction. Like having 2 back-to-back world wars is tough, right? So I don't know, it's overall a very long and complicated and arduous process. So So I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how else to say, like, it's just dumb, in my opinion.
Right. So where does the China Taiwan thing or the
So China.
but why does that? The thing I don't understand is why did they come up at the same time? Like because China saw like, oh shit, maybe we could do it at the same time now, or what? Why?
I think overall it's just like China and Russia are together.
Yeah, right.
You know, and so is Iran. So they basically could just be like, all right, let's just do this now. You have my back, I have your back. Like now's the time to kind of
do what we need
to do. As of today, I think Belarus is on, like, it's all like, all right, I'm with Russia.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, so annoying. But yeah, it's going to be bigger before it gets better. So it's really tough. People are still trying to evacuate. And obviously, amongst all this, there's still racism against Africans in the Ukraine, which I kind of was expecting. And then when I didn't hear about anything for the first couple of days, I was like, okay, maybe they're all like cooperating with each other because it's war. But no.
Yeah, I saw that video.
They're not. And the only reason I say that, and this does not speak for all the Ukrainian people or all Polish people, but, you know, when there are African soccer players, they make like monkey noises and stuff like that in the Ukraine and Poland. And obviously it's not everybody, right? But, like, obviously racism still very much exists, especially in countries that are, you know, primarily white, because they don't really deal with that. They have a lot of people that go there for school because school is less expensive in Poland and the Ukraine and stuff like that. But, you know, it comes at a cost for sure.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, man, it just sucks.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think we're gonna do? What do you think was gonna happen?
Biden said he's not sending anyone over there.
I think that's the worst choice, right?
No, I think that's the best choice.
No, I'm saying that's the worst choice if it does.
Yeah,
like,
for sure. Like that's the worst case scenario.
That's the worst decision.
And I think Russia really doesn't want. There would be times where they're like trying to egg you on to come in. I don't think Russia's trying to get that smoke.
No, yeah, dude. You know what baffles me? I'm baffled. Because China and Russia are huge. When you think about it, like when I see Europe, I see them like as small, you know?
Europe as a whole is
like,
small.
Yeah, like I see them, like I see Ukraine, Poland, I see all of them.
They're small.
I see them like
Poland's like the size of like Wisconsin.
Like, so that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So I see them and I see America and I kind of think, like, how the fuck are we supposed to be Russia and China together? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's tough.
And I think that's how I view it. But it just makes me think like that's just how much more powerful America is. Well, it was. I don't know if it was. I don't know how they are now. But that's just like, that's crazy to think that America like that is that strong to where like that little piece and America can do that to Russia and China.
Yeah, like in the olden days, you mean? Like World War II and stuff?
Yeah, I was just like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
So it just baffles me.
Yeah, I know. I think that we were able to mobilize a lot quicker. Mobilizing meaning like getting your army together. Like Ukraine's doing a very good job of mobilizing.
I heard that. Yeah.
But the thing is that you also have to think about Russia and China. Russia has a lot of basically just uninhabited land because it's so cold and snowy. So Siberia is most of Russia.
Yeah.
And then you have China, which has a lot of people, obviously, right? But at the same time, they have a lot of mountainous regions that don't have people.
Yeah.
So while they seem huge, and they are huge, it's not as big as we probably think in our mind.
Right.
And there was a really funny video. There was a hysterical video, like this creator, whoever she is on TikTok, where somebody was pointing out how Russia is so close to Alaska.
Yeah, okay.
It's about like 88 kilometers away. Like you can see Russia from Alaska, right? And then like she's just like, she did a duet and she's just like, wow, you know, whatever. And then someone from Europe in the comments was like, I just really want to know what they teach Americans in school, because it's true. Like our school systems, they're not the best, you know? And she was like, okay, like, I'm going to tell you what they teach us in school. Europe could never. And she's like, Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, you know? And then it was so funny because I know that too. Like the 1550 United States. Oh my God. I'm like,
Oh,
but yeah,
God.
that's so funny. That is the stuff we learn in school. We
Yeah.
don't really learn too
They
much.
kind of shelter us.
Yeah, because we're just taught that, like, oh, we're the United States. We got our independence from England, Civil War. Boom, we're the best.
Right,
That's what we
right.
learn in
Yeah,
school,
yeah,
really,
yeah,
right? We
yeah.
do learn some other stuff here and there, but really, that's what we learn. And then like what a freaking atom is, or what a freaking neuron is, and then like
Mitochondria.
yeah,
Mitochondria.
photosynthesis, and then some math, and you're
Yeah.
done. You're out
Yeah.
of here. And I thought that was hysterical because I'm like, yeah, so many people here in this country are so confused by the whole thing that we have to teach ourselves, like, oh yeah, Russia is trying to girl boss and get like Ukraine, and
Yeah.
that's how we have to explain it to ourselves, because we're not taught these very complex geopolitical things in school like every other place in the world. So
Hey, you know what I've always wondered? So I got in trouble in 7th grade. I remember I got in trouble in 7th grade in like my social studies class because I still remember because I think it was like traumatizing because like, I thought it was a smart question. I just thought, I really wanted to know. It was like, but anyway, my social studies teacher was like this fucking white dude, Mr. K, some kind of weird fucking like
Polish name, probably.
Yeah, probably. And then and he served in the Vietnam, I think. And he was like this fucking guy,
Oh, I can't wait to hear this
But
question.
no, I mean, it was not even a good question. It's just, it's like, I just asked, like, how come we always have to go somewhere? How come we always have to go and battle it out there, or go and protect somebody, It's like, how come, I didn't want this to happen. I'm just saying, how come
like, why don't they come here?
Yeah, like, why don't they come over here and start fucking doing shit like that? Like, what stops them from doing that here? Like, how come we never heard boats coming up to our fucking coast and just fucking, trying to shoot down our fucking, like New York or something, or fucking Florida or something, And then
By
he's
the way,
just,
my anxiety could never. Like, if that happened, I'd be like, bye, everyone. My anxiety's killing me.
I remember my teacher, he fucking yelled at me. He's like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck do you want that for? And I was like, I don't want that. I'm just asking. He's like, why the fuck would you want that? He's like, and I was like, because he used to swear at us.
Yeah.
And he's like, what the fuck are you thinking? Like, why the fuck do you want to do that? Why do you want that to happen? I was like, I don't want that to happen. I just realized it's always us going somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like, why? Like, how come? I guess the fight's never brought to us. You know what I mean? Like I guess that's my question. Like, I don't want it to happen. I'm just wondering, like,
geographically speaking,
are we terrible to attack? I mean, are we like,
I think that we are so.
That.
I think at the end of the day, you really don't want to hit that many civilians. You know what I mean? And I don't think there's a specific place anywhere here where you could be like, oh, that place doesn't have a lot of civilians, except like when they did attack Pearl Harbor.
Right, yeah.
Like that would be a smart place to attack because it's a freaking Navy base. Or pilot, what I don't remember, Navy, but it's not like a residential area, and I think the United States is just like all about residential area.
Right.
But if you see wars, when people go to war, like in the Middle East or freaking right now Ukraine and Russia, I mean they're hitting places that are inhabited by people. Right. So it's really tough to say like why they don't come and bring the fight here, because if I were someplace that's wanting to have trouble, yeah, like why not kill a bunch of people? Right. So I think overall, we also have too many allies. We are friends with too many people that if they were to do that, it would be condemned and then be like, OK, sanctions upon sanctions, which sanctions really only hurt the people and never hurts the actual country. And so, yeah, I think that's why. I think there's not enough space where people could be like, all right, we got this.
Right. Yeah. So that was my only question, and that's why it always, every time something war happens, it always brings that conversation. And I've never had that answer. I'm not manifesting it. I would never want that because I feel like you're right. It's all residential. Like we would have to be like, it'd be like it'd be crazy, mad crazy casualties. Like we don't have any area where we can like just walk around and just have a fight, you know what I mean? It's like all residential. But yeah, so that's why I was like, man, what the fuck? And that question always comes up every time there's like a war or something. Yeah, like, yeah. And it brings back that trauma of him yelling at me. Why the fuck do you want that for? So yeah, so oh man, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, I don't want that to happen. But
That is a concern. I honestly always think about that too. But like, if you really think about like in 2001, when Al Qaeda, I mean they declared war on us. That was legit war.
yeah,
So I don't know.
I just feel that like if you do something to us, like that, I say you're fucking bringing everything.
Well, I think honestly because okay, so that was the last time. Well, that was probably the only time someone declared war on us, really, right? Like since Pearl Harbor, where freaking they blew up the World Trade Centers and they took over airplanes, like, hijacked them, and killed a bunch of civilians, whatever. But I think that Afghanistan and Iraq, like they're still not recovered, and I think that they know like we're gonna get it all, like if we do something like that to the United States.
Yeah.
Like while Bin Laden had a lot of money and a lot of means, like he was still found relatively early on, what I mean? And that, it was a good freaking, yeah, like he was still found relatively early on. We got him. The Afghan government is still like recuperating, and they've been taken over again. You know what I mean? Like, so I think that people know, like, we don't want that. Like, we don't want that. We don't want to have issues with, because a war means, like, let's say you and I are in a war, right? That means, like, I get all my friends and they're no longer using your services for video.
Yeah.
Right? Not only that, but you can't buy milk for your daughters from my friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, those are, like, sanctions. Oversimplifying. I hate oversimplifying because I feel like I'm making light of it or, like, I'm trying to make it funny, and I'm really not. But I think that for, a country like Ukraine and, like, they're like, nah, like, we want this help from the United States. We want this help from the United States as friends and all that stuff. So I don't know. It's really tough. This war thing, it's hard on my anxiety and my freaking peace and everything.
Yeah. I remember I was talking we could end with something like this because we don't have too much time. But what's it called? I was talking to Stephanie about this. She's like, what are you guys going to talk about today? And I was like, I don't know. Susie wants to talk about the war a little bit. And I was like, I really don't want to because I don't fucking know shit about it. I don't know what's going on. And then she's like, and then you said that, like, we should talk about it because you'd probably ask questions that what a lot of people wouldn't be asking, or, And then Stephanie's like, she's like, does Susie know like stuff about it? And I was like, I'm pretty sure she does. I'm pretty sure she'll do her due diligence. And then it reminded me of just why do you still you read a lot about it or what? Like you really go into it? Cause I told Stephanie, I was like, I know she was like a genius like in high school, and I was like,
it's so sad that people do say that G word, but like I don't feel like I'm smart at all anymore. I think like when you have kids, like your brain goes bad. I don't know, but I think that honestly, like if I were ever to go back to school, it would be on like world politics. Like that's really my jam. Like that's really my jam. And not necessarily because I want to work in it. I would just go back to school for that.
Yeah.
But to me, this stuff, it really like it sparks something in me because you want to know like how did people develop relationships with each other? How did countries decide that, oh, this country's good, this country's bad, right? And so like that kind of stuff has always interested me. And I talk about race on here a lot, and something I know a lot about is race. And when you're talking about like Russia, Ukraine, Poland, like all these places, they're Slavic people, right? That's their race. They're Slavic people. Like even Russian people are Slavic people. Like when you hear like, oh, Caucasian from the Caucasus Mountains, that means they're Russian. No, if you really look up at what a Caucasian person looks like, they're brown. They look like Kardashian style brown. Like they're not white. Mm-hmm. We have also colonized the word Caucasian and made it for white people when really Caucasian people are, ethnic. They're, they could be Asian or they could be like from the Russian side. But so because I do know a lot about race, all these countries are Slavic countries. And the word Slav comes from slave. So they were the first, I wouldn't say the first, but like recorded wise, like in history, they're the first slaves. So they were slaves to like the Roman Empire. They were slaves to like the Ottoman Empire. And they were slaves to like the, Muslim people that were in southern Spain and stuff like that. So they have a lot of chips on their shoulders as a country because of that. And so while they should be a united force, and that's the kind of thing that kind of interests me a lot. Like when you're a full race of people, right? Like even though I'm Russian and I speak Russian, and you're Polish and you speak, Polish, and you're Catholic, but I'm like Eastern Orthodox. Like at the end of the day, you're all Slavic people. Mm-hmm. So why couldn't this be like a mutual agreement? Like we're one, even though we're different countries.
Yeah. Because
Russia's still trying to be like, nah, like let me get all my people, right? So, yeah, and that's just stuff I know from when I used to study Polish. Like their geopolitics are pretty complicated because it's not necessarily like resources, but it's really like just the smoke of being like, boom, we're all this right here. That's me. You know what I mean? That's really where it comes down to. And not only is this me, but we can fight you if it needs to happen. And I think that's really what it comes down to that Russia wants. Like to be like, all this right here, that be me. And then if you want this smoke, now we have all this to fight with, So the fact that you could just, the fact that he would put at risk so many people, including his own, just to be able to say like my dick's big, nah, I can't. That's so childish. Back to The Godfather, like how he says women and children could be reckless, not men. You know what I mean? And I think that that's what's happening here. So I don't know.
Oh, guys, there you have it, straight from a genius's mouth.
Man, wait till TD sees it. He's gonna be like, "Nah, this is such a stupid rendition of what's happening."
I bet you he has some very good.
For sure. But he's more like, of course it's gonna happen. It's not crazy that it's happening, because he sees it more from like a very, just like the point of view of just like no emotion to it. Mm-hmm. I have emotion because I'm thinking about all these people dying. I'm thinking about the Africans that have nowhere to go. I'm thinking about the Ukrainian people or freaking Russian people in Russia that don't want any part of this. I'm thinking about the United States citizens that are in the Ukraine. They're like, man, we got to get out of here. I'm thinking about all the neighboring countries that are like worried, like, are we going to have to get involved or what's happening? The U.S. said they're not coming, So like, I'm thinking about all that. So I don't know. It's really tough to really think about it. It just divides such a large group of people. When we think about Russia, like we are thinking about a lot of people, but like I mentioned, like the Slavic people as a whole, you're dividing them so much. Like for what? So there you go. A lot to talk about today.
Yeah.
Hopefully we have better news. Hopefully we have better news next time. I don't know. I hope so. Like, what if the war's just over tomorrow? I hope so.
Yeah, that'd be the best thing ever.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Another episode 4. Peace.
Bye.